Russia targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure with drones to save missiles. Kremlin does not rule out talks between Putin and Trump before inauguration. Trump and South Korean president discussed Russia's involvement of North Korean military on battlefield in Ukraine. The latest news next. Russia is targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure with drones aiming to save missiles. Reported by Andriy Kovalenko, head of the Center of Country and Disinformation at the National Security and Defense Council. He said, Russia is using Shahed drones to target energy infrastructure in regions to save missiles which are being stockpiled as strategic aviation airfields. Kovalenko explained that the pace of missile production prevents Russia from waging an intense war with constant missile usage. In contrast, Shaheds are a cheaper tool, though their effectiveness is more suited for terrorizing civilians than for hitting designated targets. The head of the CCD added that the effectiveness of Shahed is around 10%. About power situation, currently mass power outages are not being implemented in Ukraine. Restrictions may be introduced in the event of shelling or damage to energy infrastructure. On November 7th, emergency power outages were partially introduced in the Zhytomyr region. The government warns that winter may be difficult for Ukrainians, given the ongoing enemy attacks. Ukrenergo estimates that Ukrainians may go through the winter without power outages or with minimal restrictions, not taking into account possible shelling and its consequences. Energy specialists believe that outages could be longer in case of cold weather. Russia launched another large-scale attack on Kyiv with drones on the night of the 6th to the 7th of November. Air defense systems have downed over 30 Russian UAVs, reported by Serhiy Popko, head of Kyiv City Military Administration, cited by the administration press office. About details, the drones approached Kyiv both separately and in groups. The attack came in waves from different directions, with UAVs flying at varying altitudes, both from very low to significant heights. An air raid warning was in effect for 8 hours. Over 30 Russian UAVs were destroyed in the airspace over Kyiv and its outskirts. The exact number and types of drones will be revealed by the Air Force later, as a result of the coordinated work of the Air Force and other components of Ukraine's defense forces. The drone wreckage was found in 6 city districts. Residential and non-residential buildings were damaged. Fires broke out, which were promptly extinguished. As of now, 2 people have been reported injured, but their lives are not in danger.
There is no air raid warning in effect in Kyiv as of now. However, there are still drones in Ukrainian airspace that could move towards Kyiv. Therefore, be careful and do not ignore air raid warnings.
Experts from the Institute for the Study of War have suggested which Russian missile ships and corvettes in the city of Caspian, Dagestan Republic, Russia, could have been damaged by Ukrainian drones on the 6th of November, reported by ISW. About details, Ukrainian forces reportedly conducted their first strike on the Russian naval base in Caspian, Dagestan on the 6th of November, damaging several missile ships of Russia's Caspian Sea flotilla. Ukrainian media, referencing Ukraine's military intelligence, stated that Ukrainian drones targeted a naval base, damaging the Tatarstan and the Dagestan Gepard-class frigates and possibly impacting several nearby Buyan-class corvettes. Head of Republic of Dagestan asserted on the 6th of November that Russian forces shot down a Ukrainian drone over Caspian without providing specific details on the aftermath. Satellite imagery from the 6th of November shows 3 likely Russian Buyan-class vessels, 2 likely Buyan-M-class vessels, 1 likely Taranto-class vessel, 1 likely Gepard-class vessel, and 1 likely Karakurt-class vessel present at the Caspian port on the day of the strike, though the images do not confirm damage to the ships or piers. Satellite footage posted on the 6th of November displays drones striking near port infrastructure in Caspian. Putin's press secretary Dmitry Peskov does not rule out Russian terrorist dictator Vladimir Putin's communication with US President-elect Donald Trump before his inauguration on the 20th of January 2025, reported by RIA Novosti, a Kremlin-aligned Russian news outlet.
Putin's communication with Trump before the inauguration is not ruled out. The Kremlin proceeds from the statements of the US President-elect.
about details. However, Peskov added that Russian representatives did not contact the Trump team and that no work was underway to organize a meeting between Putin and Trump. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that Russia had never refused to hold meetings or conversation with the United States.
We have never refused to speak with anyone. President Putin emphasizes our position every time this topic comes up. Talking is always better than isolating ourselves from each other,
Lavrov said when asked about the prospects for contacts with the Trump team. US President-elect Donald Trump has called his South Korean counterpart Yoon Suk-yeol, where they discussed, among other topics, the deployment of North Korean troops to Russia to support its war efforts against Ukraine. As reported by South Korean news agency Yonhap, Kim Tae said Yoon had congratulated Trump on his landslide victory in the presidential elections. During the call, they discussed bilateral security, the economy, and global issues. Yoon and Trump addressed North Korea's situation, including recent nuclear developments, missile launches, and troop deployment to Russia. Both leaders expressed their concerns on these security issues and on the urgency of the situation in Ukraine. Trump emphasized U.S. interest in cooperating with South Korea in the shipbuilding industry, specifically in naval ship construction, export, repair, and maintenance. The South Korean leader's office also noted that they had agreed on an in-person meeting in the near future. They agreed that an in-person meeting would be essential to discuss these matters further and will coordinate soon on a date and location, Kim Tae said. The foreign ministers of the G7 countries, along with those from three key allied nations, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, expressed their serious concern on Tuesday, the 5th of November, regarding the deployment of North Korean troops in Russia. They are currently collaborating on a coordinated response to address the situation. UK Defense Intelligence has indicated that North Korean troops involved in fighting against Ukraine would encounter interoperability issues with Russian forces and their equipment. Sources in Defense Intelligence of Ukraine confirmed that the first clash between Ukrainian forces and North Korean troops has taken place in Russia's Kursk region. The UK has announced the largest package of sanctions against Russia since May 2023, with new sanctions targeting the Russian military-industrial complex and Russian-backed mercenary groups, reported by press release on the UK government website, as reported by European Pravda.
The UK sanctioned a total of 56 individuals and legal entities, with sanctions intended to disrupt the supply of vital equipment for Russian leader Vladimir Putin's war machine. The new sanctions also bear down on Russian malign activity globally, exposing the corrupt activities of Russian proxy military groups in Africa.
The sanctions target suppliers supporting Russia's military production, Russian-backed mercenary groups operating in sub-Saharan Africa, and the Russian military intelligence agent involved in the use of a Novichok nerve agent in Salisbury, UK. They also target entities based in China, Turkey, and Central Asia involved in the supply and production of goods like machine tools, microelectronics, and components for drones, which Russia needs to support its illegal invasion of Ukraine. The package also targets 3 private mercenary groups with links to the Kremlin, including Africa Corps, and 11 individuals associated with Russian proxies. These targets have direct links to the Kremlin, have threatened peace and security in Libya, Mali, and the Central African Republic, and have committed widespread human rights abuses across the continent, the government's press release said. That's all for today. Thanks for watching this video. Like and subscribe.